All right, guys. Good morning. Welcome to our morning market update. Oh, the camera's close. Spinaroo right into the camera lens. Good morning. Welcome to the morning market update for Wednesday, August the 22nd, 2018. It's George Papazov, TRADEPRO Academy. We got the boys here, Victorio, Marky as well. Look, Marky's watching me. Yeah, look at that. And Victorio's just Victorio. We have a hard time waking Victorio up in the morning. So if anyone could suggest any recommendations of how to wake up and be fully alert very quickly, pop it in the comment box for Victorio. In today's morning market update, we're gonna talk about crude oil inventory and a few things that happened overnight. Crude is a huge opportunity with crude oil inventory numbers say at 10:30. Again, I'm going to repeat this: in 1 hour of one day, you could make your whole weekly income if you trade properly and in a group of traders who know what they're doing in that report. That's us. Come join us in the trading room. You have 14-day money back guarantee. Today is a perfect day to sign up and check out the atmosphere in our daily live trading room. All right, we're going to start out with some key earnings. Kohl's came out with a Q2 beat, up 1.7%. TJX companies up 4.7% with really strong comparable sales. So those two companies are up. So we're getting a little bit of bullish sentiment in earnings. Around the world in markets, in Asia, Japan's up 0.6%, Hong Kong's up the same, China's down 0.7, India's flat, and in Europe at midday, London's up 0.3, Paris is up 0.3, and Frankfurt is flat. So we're getting a little bit of mixed price action. Asian markets are trading slightly higher, and London markets, or European markets rather, aren't doing as well. They're sort of more flat, but still up. So modest gains across the board after some volatility yesterday in the equity markets. We'll talk about that. In futures in the United States, all down across the board, 0.2% each, S&P, NASDAQ, and the Dow. So we're getting a little bit of a sell-off in the U.S. futures. I get a feel that today we're going to release some downside liquidity that we've built up. And I think that today's the day that you sell rallies and ride the downside at least until about 10:30, and then you could try to reverse to the upside. I just think yesterday's news was a little bit more bearish than some people would have you believe in terms of the implications for the future and Donald Trump and his administration, what could come out. And so I think institutional traders will be taking some profit. And if institutional is taking profit, that means you're going to have a lot of sell orders. So I'm looking to sell rallies early on. And if there's any bullish momentum, then I'm going to give up that notion, just jump on board and ride it up. All right, simple as that. Crude oil today is up 1.3%, trading to about $67 a barrel. Had a little bit of a sell-off here this morning. Now it's rallying back up towards near highs, on new session highs, and at overnight highs at the moment. We just had the pit open. So the pit session opened at the overnight high, that level being 67.28. Nice rally in crude so far that's continuing to the upside. All right, gold prices are up 0.3% to 1203.50, and Bitcoin's up almost 3%, hovering just slightly above the mid 6,000 range where it's been quite some time now. The U.S. dollar has been very weak and continues to slide. We had some support levels for the U.S. dollar, and it didn't honor them. It just went through them and continues to get hit. So bids are coming into that market. It's getting bid down, and I mean that's putting the pressure to the upside on commodities, equities, and on metals as well, precious and base metals. So this dollar continues to be sold off, and that's something you need to keep an eye out on for today's correlation. Mark that on your chart. Watch the dollar very closely today. All right, whatever the dollar goes, equities, commodities should go the opposite way. All right, today's economic calendar, we have at 10 a.m. existing home sales, 10:30 Department of Energy's inventories for crude oil. That's a big report. And at 2 o'clock this afternoon, we have the FOMC, the Federal Open Market Committee meeting minutes. That's basically the Fed. They last met on August 1st, and we're going to get the minutes from that meeting. We're going to get to see what they said. We're looking for a few things. So obviously, there's no interest rate hike today. There's zero chance they're going to be able to hike rates because it's not a hiking meeting. It's not an active live meeting. It's just a minutes release from the prior meeting, which is still set to unleash some volatility in today's session in the afternoon. We will trade that live with our elite group. We're going to start at 1:45 p.m. Eastern, so we're going to have some opportunity to trade the FOMC. Some assets to look for during that time frame from about 2 to 4 p.m. is going to be gold, all right, bonds, and equities in the U.S. Those are three assets that always move, and the U.S. dollar around this time frame. All right, and remember, we'll trade that live with our elite subscribers at 1:45 p.m. Some economists think that the FOMC had some time in the last meeting to discuss what they call big ticket issues, meaning these are things that could be a direct impact to the policy, and look for a discussion in the statements of what the Fed considers as a neutral rate. And I quote it, I air quote neutral rate, because neutral rate basically means a rate at which sustains economic development but also doesn't hinder it. So it's kind of like a balance point to be in line with what the economy needs at this very moment. There's a lot of debate about what that rate looks like, how much percent it is, what the path of ascent to that rate will be, how to get above that rate. Those kind of questions with the Fed is kept up at night by. And if we're going to see some clarification on that, it'd be interesting to see where that rate lands, all right? Or if they even talked about it. That's number one thing you got to watch in today's FOMC meeting minutes. That's what traders are curious about, all right? Also, look at some reports on the yield curve and trade policy. And speaking of trade policy, China and the United States continue their second round or into their second day of deliberations on hoping to forge together a path of some kind of trade settlement or a trade agreement. So in the Fed, that's what you're watching for. You're watching for what the definition of neutral rate is and any information that hasn't been factored in from the previous meetings. If they're going to raise rates more hawkishly, if they're going to decrease the rates. Donald Trump yesterday tweeted that he's not happy with Fed Powell raising the rates. He said it actually. It might have been an interview, but that's way after this meeting already happened. So there's going to be no mention of that. It's not possible for anyone to mention that unless he's already said something to Fed Powell before that. That's the meeting minutes in a nutshell. We'll cover them in a lot more detail before our trading webinar at 1:45 p.m. All right, futures are down this morning, and they were down last night into the close around 3:40. The news came out that Trump's former lawyer is going to plead guilty. And, in true lawyer speak, he said the following. Hold on, I think I have a quote. He said that a candidate for federal office directed him to pay off a porn star for the principal purposes of influencing the election. He said a candidate paid off another person for the principle of influencing the election. However, he didn't mention names, but any person could look at that and based on the news cycle say, "Oh, I know who it is: Donald Trump and Stormy Daniels." Was that her name? Victoria watches her movies. I don't, unfortunately. Just kidding. But anyways, Stormy. Isn't Stormy the name of Kylie Jenner's baby too? Wow, good times. What's this world coming to? So anyways, he's going to testify guilty, and that puts a lot of pressure on the Trump administration. What does that mean for him? What does it look like? And investors here are getting a little bit worried. Not that there's any bombshell in this, not that there's any direct implications, but at the end of the day, there is, because this proves that he did pay Stormy Daniels for privacy. And, at the end of the day, what does it matter? It's an arrangement that was made. It's bad, but, I mean, as a politician, there's got to be a separation between a private life and a personal life. Bill Clinton was able to get through a scandal like that, and I don't endorse that kind of behavior, but I know that it's a stressful job, and whatever people decide to do, the part of it has to be private. They have to have a private life, but it's not good. It's not good by any means. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying what he did was right. I'm just saying that this has implications for the stock market. At the end of the day, the most important part is, if there was that kind of agreement, how did that influence his campaign? Also, what else will Trump's former lawyer say? This is just getting started, basically. All right. This opens the door for some more investigation potentially into Trump and his administration and his campaign run. I don't think anything significant comes out of it, but also Donald Trump's 2016 campaign manager, Paul Manafort, was found guilty on 8 charges of financial wrongdoing, wire fraud, some other stuff, having bank accounts in places he shouldn't. That has nothing to do with the election. It's just he chose a former campaign manager that decided to do some financial illegal activities. You look at the Panama Papers, and you'd be hard-pressed to find one person who hasn't meddled in some of this stuff. Plus, the definition of bank wire fraud is pretty broad. So anywho, point I'm making is Paul Manafort, 2016 campaign manager, found guilty on 8 counts. Donald Trump can now choose to pardon him his sentence or not. And in addition, that his former lawyer testified, pled guilty, and gave some scoop on him. So basically, what we're saying is, who knows what's going to happen? The market's uncertain. At the end of the day, all that matters is this is uncertainty. Market deleveraged by selling some of their long positions. And I think today we're going to continue doing that. I don't think the sell-off is over. Last but not least, U.S. and Chinese mid-level officials are set to continue their talks today and to trade, hoping to set a framework for future negotiations. There's going to be no agreement come to today. They're not going to say, all right, no more tariffs, let's all party and be friends. But the hope here is that they set some kind of future agenda in which they could come to an agreement. This is just kind of like an opening round of talks, kind of like meeting somebody, shaking hands, exchanging business cards, and getting to know one another. This is what this meeting's all about. Today's the last day. Look for any kind of tweets or updates on this matter that could cause volatility as well. That's all we got in the market. And it's a lot. Today's the big day of economic news. We went Monday, Tuesday with nothing. Wednesday, we're hit with 10:30 oil news, 10 a.m. existing home sales, 10:30 oil news, 2 p.m. FOMC meeting minutes from August 1st meeting. That's a lot. All right, good luck. Trade careful out there. More volatility is going to come in today's market. So you could trade. You could take a few more trades. You could increase your scale, but don't increase your risk. Just be careful out there because there's going to be a little bit of chop. And there's nothing worse than volatile chop. It gives you opportunity, but by the time you spot it, it could hit your stop a few times. So just trade careful, manage your risk, trade like a trade pro, start selling rallies, reverse that at 10:30. I think that would be the order of the day. And if you're wrong, switch to the other side of the trade and get paid. Stop trying to be right. You don't make money trying to be correct or right. You make money following the trends and evaluating in real time what's happening. The only place you can make decisions is in real time. Get the past, the future may not happen. All you have is now. See you guys later. And tomorrow at 9 a.m., trade like a trade pro. And hopefully see you in the trade room today. It's going to be fun. Right, Vic? Victoria gives us a thumbs up. We're going to post in the descriptions box Victoria's favorite Stormy Daniels videos. So click the link below. Just kidding. We can't do that. Goodbye, guys. Oh, Vicky. All right, guys, let's look at some charts here and pin some levels that we could trade off of.